All right, we are live. Give it a second for everybody. Yeah, it looks like you are the first one today, Hard Knocks. Um, Welcome back, everybody. Today's episode, we've got episode number 5 of Comic Convos, and today's guest, we've got One True Nerd King from Instagram. Makes a ton of awesome posts. He's very active in the community, comments on a lot of people's stuff. He stays up to date on pretty much all the everything that's happening with comic books, Marvel, speculation, and he's gotten into the reels as well. He posts those every day. They are absolutely hilarious. I know he's got a lot of other ones that he hasn't posted yet because I've seen some of those too. And he's got a lot of other projects going on. So, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you're very busy, so it's really cool to see you hop on here for an hour.
I don't know the way you make it sound, all the other things I'm doing. I feel like I should get a life now. I don't know if I'm busy enough with everything else. I'm just, on Instagram all the time.
Well, I see you in that awesome studio. So,
Well, yeah, it's not this one. This one's falling apart. I've got to redo all the everything. Yeah, it's been fun. But the new studio proper over at work, that's gonna be the fun one we'll be broadcasting from soon.
is that the one that you post on Instagram a lot?
The place where I'm always usually in the background is right here. You can see my lights behind me. I've got them
Mm-hmm.
on either side of the wall, kind of going around the entire room. Then I've got my more business side for when I'm broadcasting that doesn't have much of anything on it, just a nice white background bookshelf.
Nice and clean.
But that way my room can be a little bit multi-use. But yeah, otherwise, this is where I do a lot of my Instagram stuff, but I've built an actual studio proper for filming and all the fun stuff that's out at work.
Cool. Well, I know I see the reels. I mean, they're like I said before, they're pretty solid. I get a good laugh at a lot of them. What are some of the other things that you're getting ready to work on?
Right now, I've been doing a lot with Instagram Live. So a lot of the kinds of situations that we're going through here, what we're talking about, those conversations, I do a lot of that live in the evenings on Instagram. I'm also working on my YouTube channel, just getting that started. So I've been doing a lot of programming, doing interviews at different conventions,
Nice.
prepping that for things to throw in between, and also getting TikTok going. So since I've been doing so many reels, it kind of makes sense to transition those to TikTok as well. But there's always a few things in the way of that.
I know the feeling. I mean, honestly, since I don't have TikTok, everything that you've been posting, I thought that was TikTok. So I thought it was just like a nice transition from that app to Instagram. But it's really cool to see that you're taking full, advantage of the Instagram Reels. I've never tried it out. I mean, I don't know if I could be
You
good with
know,
that.
the one thing to keep in mind that a lot of people forget that come across from TikTok into Instagram is that Instagram actually, for anybody that's creating reels, boosts it to everybody that is just remotely in your genres or that uses those hashtags frequently. So a lot of people that have never, that's why I've grown so quickly, is because of reels. It
Hmm.
wasn't because of special content or going out and asking people to follow or getting them to guess, things like that. It was the reels. And because Instagram boosts it out there, you're able to grow more quickly. But if you use your TikToks, they see that little TikTok symbol, they
Hmm.
actually don't boost it. And they actually kind of like, I don't want to say shadow ban, but the only people that can see it then are just your already followers. So that's why I always make my content original to Instagram, because then I get that boost to the entire community.
That's pretty cool to know. I didn't know that. I'm not nearly as big on Instagram like I should be. I don't keep up to date with anything. I've been using the same hashtags for honest to God, what feels like almost 2 years now. And I feel like I've been told hashtags don't even work anymore, or half of them are broken.
They're different now. They're a little different, but we could talk about that sometime too.
So as far as comic book goes, I mean, what'd you pick up this week? Anything good?
Oh man, I am a huge indie guy. I do love Marvel and I do love DC, just like everybody does. I mean, I'm a 40-year-old guy. I've obviously grown up with Marvel. I grew up with DC. I was really taken through the fires of the Image time when they took off. But more recently than anything, looking for fresh new stories. It's kind of hard to find that constantly in DC and Marvel. At least I don't want to say constantly, but consistently in DC and Marvel. But with indies, you really get that chance. So you've got Aftershock, you got Zenoscope, you've got AWA Upshot, you've obviously got Image. There's Boom Studios. There's so many great indie publishers out there.
There
I
really
spend
are.
a lot of time really looking at them more often than not. But I think this week I was really surprised by how much I liked Out. so
Out was
far.
awesome.
Yes, AWA. That's been so far my favorite number one of the week that I've read. But I'm still continuing the Me You Love in the Dark.
That is such a weird series. I'm loving it, but
It took a
it's
weird
very
turn
weird
just now.
with the last issue. Yeah. I wasn't
Yeah.
going to bring it up. I know in the top 10, I've released that today. I talked about it a little bit. I hit everyone
Okay.
with the little spoiler tag, but oh my God, what a odd turn.
It definitely at the end, and then the preview, you're seeing like what the
Yeah.
what just happened, and then that last scene, and then you see the next one, you're like, all right, there's gonna be trouble, bad
That's what I
things
was
are
thinking
about to
too.
happen.
Like the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
couple issues, I made it through and I was like, all right, cool. It's a little weird, haunted ghost story. And now this issue, it's like, all right, she's having fun now.
yeah. This is a special. This is a fun house. This isn't a haunted house. So
Yeah. But it's cool to see that the monster is actually maybe real. Like it's not just some weird ghost. I guess
yeah,
we got a little glimpse of that at the end.
it feels like it's almost some kind of like ancient demon kind of, maybe not demon might not be the right word, right? But
Yeah.
some kind of ancient whatever it may be, because he's talking about time being so long and how far back it goes. Let
Clearly
me
been
see.
there for a bit.
Yeah, it definitely made a different turn. I did not see that coming.
Maybe
I was
wrong as
wondering
well,
at that.
though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was wondering it. It looked like she was kind of giving him a kiss at the beginning, right? Because it kind of looked like the way she was leaning in. It looked like a
Mhm.
kiss to me. I'm like, did she? Maybe it's just the way that she pursed her lips or something. But yeah, no, no, no.
Well, we
the,
got we
the
got
creature
Luke
went for it.
Sims on here. He said, "How hot is the Me You Love in the Dark? Didn't pick up 3 because I thought I didn't have to. Turns out I did. LOL." I mean, the one we're talking about right now is 3. Definitely
Yeah.
an odd issue. I think that's what this issue really brought the story more together. I guess it gave it
Yes.
more of a direction because
Yes.
the first 2 issues I didn't really know exactly where we were going or exactly what Scotty Young's plan was for it. But now with this issue, it's well, now I want to see where they're going, but we have an idea of at least what she's planning.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that entire meme of, are we supposed to know what we're doing? Kind of
Yeah.
out there when I was reading the first 2 episodes. But now it really came together in this third book. Heinously, I always enjoyed this series so far, but it was just kind of like, oh, it's enjoyable. I like Scotty Young. I trust him. I know it's going to go somewhere I'll probably like. But yeah, today was the
Yeah,
moment it all really started to kind of come together in a cohesive manner.
I agree with that. But back to AWA without. That's their newest series. Big fan of it so far. I think Rob Williams was the writer on that one. I don't have it right
Yep,
next to me,
yep.
but
Rob Williams,
it was
Will
definitely
Conrad.
solid. My thought on that one was I had a different idea of it because I obviously read the solicitation. I read a little bit of a preview of it as well, so I thought I had a good idea of where it was going. But I really like how instead of them getting right into it, showing whatever the monster is, getting down to the action, they really gave a lot of these characters backstory, and not just backstory, but we got to see some real personality from them as well.
Mhm.
So I thought that was a really interesting take that they did. It sucks that AWA really sticks with just these 5-6 issue mini runs because they have so many good ones on their hands that just deserve an extra volume. And they're doing that now. We saw what was it, a Year Zero that got a second volume. Bite
Yeah.
Size, I think. Maybe Bite Size. I think Bite Size is getting a second volume as well. And there's so many other ones that we're seeing too. Hotel's getting another one. So they know that they have
Yes.
really good series on their hands. But I just think at the time that they created all of them, they just didn't realize it.
I would agree with that. I think that in this case, what they are very good at is creating these good short stories that they keep moving in a very well-paced manner. Because I do find sometimes with a story that can, with a series that can go on forever, perhaps it can have a hard time knowing the pacing of, okay, we're going to kind of have to stretch the story a little bit here. What I love about AWA is that it is so focused on the story
Yeah.
that it's able to keep a consistent pace through every single one of their books. So I was very impressed with it. I was very impressed with it.
I forget what I put it on my list. Honestly, I think I put it at like 8, maybe even 9, but I
Yeah.
mean, that didn't mean I didn't like it. I thought it was still a great issue. This week just happened to have so many other big ones. You know, we got Nice House on the
Oh,
Lake, Chicken Devil, Dark Ages 2, fantastic. And I talk about Marvel all the time in my stuff. I'm not, as of late, I don't think Marvel has a ton of huge hitters. I don't think they have a lot of hot books on their hands as far as some ongoing series go, but Dark Ages is off to a great start.
yeah, it's a very fresh story in my opinion from
It
Marvel.
does.
Yes,
It
yes,
feels
yes.
very fresh. It feels very different. The one thing that really stood out to me was I like how the first one was set up, where very typical Marvel fashion, just, you know, the world is ending. We got this new villain. We need to stop him. It's like, all right, this was a good story, but this, you know, it was good. Let's see where it goes. This one, I like how they took that different path where it's not, let's stop the Unmaker. We got to defeat him. It's in the future. They're still
Yeah,
dealing with the Unmaker, but now they're dealing with all the post-apocalyptic stuff, trying to make lives for themselves. I thought that was a really cool aspect to it.
I kind of like that steampunk feel you kind of almost get in different ways for it too, with that change and dynamic and the different characters kind of rising in their own ways, their new ways. So yeah, no, I've been very impressed with Dark Ages. Honestly, it's the only thing in Marvel I'm I've put on my pull list. It's, everything else I get with Marvel is art based, right?
I can agree
Who's
with
on the
that.
cover, how am I feeling about the characters, and maybe just occasionally getting them to kind of keep up if I know it's a big arc, but I'm not like actively every single week I have to read the story. What's going to happen next?
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting here. I used to have that with Strange Academy, but I've kind of just, a little bit. It's just gotten to be long for me. But yeah, Dark Ages, I'm pumped.
It sucks that you kind of bring up Strange Academy, because I'm not saying I feel the same way, but I've talked to a lot of people that just, they're like, I'm not liking this series anymore. It's very boring. And in the beginning, I said the same thing. It's like, you know, not a lot is happening, but I think they're really developing these characters, and they're developing it for a long series. But I
Mhm.
mean, what are we on? 13 issues? And I feel like we still don't exactly have a direction. They brought in the first villain, if they're even considered villains, in the first, I think it was issue 4.
Yeah.
And then I think it was called The Hollow. And then after that, we haven't seen them again. And then I don't know, the last, I can't remember the character's name, but whatever happened with the last character, the kid who had the coat on, I think maybe Oliver was his
Oh, yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that really wasn't even a villain or something big. So
No.
it's kind of slow. Great story. I love the artwork. I like what Scotty Young's doing, but I can see why people are dropping it.
I feel like it's a primer for Disney Plus, right? I feel like
Absolutely. As
Disney
set up for a
Plus is
show.
trying to set up some characters so that way when the show comes out, like they've had the luxury of with all their other shows, there's a little bit of history, a little bit of lore to get a little bit of like, a couple of people at least enough hyped up about seeing these characters come to life
Yep.
in a live action show. That to me, that's what it just feels about. I feel like they're just trying to make that Marvel Harry Potter kind of situation happen for Disney Plus. That's what it feels like to me.
Absolutely. Now, if anyone in here has not read anything from Strange Academy, there is a trade paperback out. But what Nerd King said, with Harry Potter, that is an absolute fact. I've compared it to Harry Potter as well. This is literally Marvel's version of it. That's what they're setting up. It's, you know, we have all these kids that are being brought up with Doctor Strange, Brother Voodoo's there, Scarlet Witch, a lot of other big time characters.
Magic.
Yeah, they're teaching these kids how to do what they know to set up the next generation. One cool thing is when I was on Comic Book Canon talking to Jeff and Journos, they kind of brought up what they think the direction of Marvel and just the movies and TV shows are going to, because you have these two different groups. You've got the comic book lovers, you got the movie lovers, and then there's another group where, you know, they really feed off each other. They enjoy both, but there's still the hardcore movie, hardcore book fans. But they think that a lot of these series that are going to be coming up are going to not really be based on TV shows that Marvel's creating, but they're going to be going hand in hand with each other. Like what you're saying, Strange Academy, 12 issues deep. They haven't really done anything. They haven't established much besides these characters. So now maybe if they do create a TV show, the comic book might loosely be based off the TV show now. And that's how they're really going to get people, more fans involved with both comic books and the movies. So I like that take. I
I
agreed
agree with
with
that.
it. And I
Yeah.
think, is that a good way to go? I mean, that's going to be up in the air, because if they come out the TV show and then the book after it, are people going to still read the book if they don't like the TV show? Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of like one of those extra adventure-y kinds of things where they let a little bit of the story or subplots leak out kind of situation, maybe through the books. I
Hmm.
think that there's to me, it feels like it's 100% still going to be taking the best of what we start to flesh out in these books right now. So I think we're going to be taking from the comics in Strange Academy's case, right? Where they're taking the
Hmm.
characters, the major parts of the backstory, the big parts, the funny parts, because they've established the entire teaching core essentially with
Yeah,
MCU either already cast and well established or just cast and coming in these future movies that we already know of, like Brother Voodoo, things of that nature. So we know we've got these people already in the MCU. It just makes sense to bring in that second generation of kids. So to me, I feel like I think they're absolutely right on where it's going about these things running hand in hand. But I think it's going to be, in my opinion, Disney Plus is going to go in a I think they're going to change a lot more of the story arcs, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I think they
I
will too.
feel like that way, then they can just say with the comic, then they can take their young adult novels, they can take things like that, that then loosely flesh out from different parts of the show. But I think that Scotty Young right now is just creating his cast to find out which ones Disney's going to want to put on that A team
Yep.
of individuals to know who's going to be those fan favorites, who are going to be the ones people identify with to get their Hermione, their Ron, and their Harry kind of
I can
situation.
agree with that. I mean, we have Emily Bright. She's obviously the main one of the whole group. She's pretty powerful. We also got Doyle. And I'd say, there's a couple other characters that are just kind of floating in between. But I mean, like you said, Harry, Hermione, if you're reading the series, you're going to know, but they've already got a little thing for each other. I mean, no reason to not put them in. And it's Doyle Dormammu. He's
I at least want them to have what they should have had in Harry Potter, where Harry had Hermione and Hermione had Harry, instead of this whole Weasley situation, which I don't mind the Weasleys, whatever. But at the end of the day, if it weren't for her divorce, J.K. even said she was going to put them together, but she was going through a divorce at the time, so she made them not. So I'm hoping, from the shipping portion of my soul, from the person that's enjoyed these books so far, I'm hoping they make it work. So
we'll see what Marvel can do about it.
plus, I mean, his head's on fire all the time. It's freaking cool.
That too.
It's freaking cool.
I mean, she can handle it though, apparently. One of the other things that we talked about. Sorry. So one of the other things,
Don't
like
apologize.
in continuation.
I was agreeing with you. I apologize.
Oh, sorry about that. So one of the other things that we brought up on their channel that I thought was really cool too. So this is basically continuing on with what we were just talking about. Is the example I brought up was the Miss Marvel. We've got Kamala Khan. She's coming. She's got her show in December.
Yep.
So they're obviously. I mean, she's an Inhuman. So at that rate, the Inhumans have to be in the MCU, unless if they're not going to make her an Inhuman. So that's where this whole conversation comes to. Are they going to take a character and just kind of do whatever they want with them and turn it into something completely different? Or are they going to still base on the comic book? Because that's her whole origin story. As you know, the Terrigen Mist came out, got her, and turned her into who she is. And it affected a lot of other people as well. So even some of her main villains are also Inhumans.
Yes.
So what are they really going to do with that show? They have to do it.
I hope it's not I hope it's not like a bait and switch, whereas she doesn't end up being an Inhuman. I don't want them to change that portion of it. Because I mean, at the same time too, a part of me really wants, in a lot of ways, Chloe Bennett to come back as Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm a huge Chloe Bennett fan, so I would love to see that. I mean, there's talk about her being Dr. Aphra going forward. I mean, so she's definitely got some ties with Disney anyways, so they could easily just have her appear in parts and pieces just to kind of take what we already know with Phil Coulson and things of that nature, having his connections to the MCU to kind of make that a little bit more solidified. I hated the Inhumans as a TV show, so I think as far as like going back too far and having too many things in common is problematic. But yes, I think, in my opinion, and this is for something that, unless you follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't know about me, but the one show I am most pumped up about from all of the shows that have come out this year, it wasn't Scarlet Witch, it wasn't Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it wasn't What If, it wasn't Loki. Loki was a surprise, but it wasn't Loki.
Loki was good.
It wasn't Hawkeye either. It was always Ms. Marvel, because I've been a huge Ms. Marvel fan. She's the heart and soul of the Champions, Young Avengers. She to me is the linchpin of that team, because her heart just stands out so much in these characters. So I've been 100% pumped for that show. So I hope they stay true to her origin, because it was a very good, very powerful and strong origin story, in my opinion, especially for
It really
modern
was.
characters. It was. So yeah, I think she needs to be an Inhuman. They better keep it that way, in my opinion. But I don't want them to like try and mix her into a mutant, because they want to start to change to mutants all of a sudden. I don't want it to be like that. Bring the mutants in when they need to come in, but let's keep our Inhumans as our Inhumans, because that's an integral part to what connects her with the Marvels movie that's coming out, because we know she's in the Ms. Marvel movie. So Brie Larson's there, Photon's there, and there is no other reason to have Camilla Khan there unless there's a Kree connection, because that is the connection between her and Photon. Well, maybe not Photon as much, but it's that energy of sorts, that cosmic energy. To me, in my mind, that's the only reason Camilla Khan can be in that movie, would be that otherworldly connection that she would have to have by being an Inhuman.
That's good stuff.
I don't know.
I'm really
That's my
happy.
opinion.
That's a hell of an opinion. I'm really happy you also brought up the whole X-Men like mutant thing. I'm so happy you brought that up, because I feel that same way. I talk to a lot of people and they're like, well, what if they turn her into a mutant? Because they can kind of pull that off, like, oh yeah, the mutants are here. We just didn't really show them yet. But now it's, well, now we need to introduce the Inhumans. We still have to introduce the mutants, and that's a lot on their plate to like kind of just bring all together. But man, I really hope they do not turn her into a mutant. I've seen a lot of people talking about that, and I think that's a horrible take. I don't think there's enough people who have read Miss Marvel. I don't think there's enough people that know about her character. They're phenomenal series. If you've read her series, she's fantastic. G. Willow Wilson has done a phenomenal job on that, and I think the most latest one was Saladin Ahmed. I can't remember for sure if he did the most current Magnificent Miss Marvel series.
Yes,
but
yes.
He's killing it on Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And I just, I think she's extremely underrated. That's actually one of the series that I'm really looking forward to as well. I hope they give her justice.
I hope so too. So far the shows have been hits
I agree with that.
In different ways. They've always tried to do something different, right? You can't compare WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Loki to each other. They are apples, oranges, and I don't know, whatever, tomatoes. They're fruits versus veggies. They're very different in their own right. They're meant to be something different genre-wise, artistically, cinematically, story writing, totally different. Not just in the fact that they're different characters. They're meant to be pulling from different areas completely of the MCU. Mm-hmm. And to me, in my mind, we're going to be going that same route with this Home Alone meets, I don't know, somebody gave me a great comparison to a way that Home Alone meets Die Hard, which is Hawkeye coming at us this holiday season for Christmas. And
that is around Christmas?
Yeah, it had that feel of, so it starts on Thanksgiving. The first episode is the day after Thanksgiving. So Black Friday, that's the first episode of Hawkeye. And it's going to run through Christmas. And right after that is going to be the new Star Wars show.
Is that going to be Bad Batch? Is that what that's called? I'm not up to date on any Star Wars.
I don't think it's Bad Batch. There's something else that's coming out, but it's Disney.
Or Book of something?
The Book of Boba.
Book of
Boba Fett. That's what comes in the same day as the finale of Hawkeye, is the very first day of the Book of Boba Fett. And because of that, I think Ms. Marvel's been bumped back to 2022 to come up on the heels of the Book of Boba Fett. So
that would make sense.
It's going to be a short run. But yeah, at any rate, that to me, in my opinion, is going then with Inhumans. Again, different area, getting a bit more cosmic. Again, we're shooting for very youth orientated, because it's going to be all kid characters, completely new. She's not going to have a mentor Avenger hanging out with her like all these other series have had. Not that we've at least known casting wise so far, but yeah, to me, in my mind, that's the direction. I think that we're going to get a little bit more youthful and more fun in Ms. Marvel, in my opinion. That's my opinion on it. More
So I
Guardians of the
think,
Galaxy.
what was the last part?
More Guardians of the Galaxy, like kind of humory, like
I
just
can agree
yeah,
with that. So what I think they're doing, obviously you hit the nail on the head. They're going younger. They're obviously with Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan coming. I'd say, the MCU movies, they were really building the Avengers. They were building that whole thing up. And now with the TV shows, it almost seems as though they're introducing a lot of the next generation. They're bringing these kids in. They got Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan. I can only imagine Amadeus Cho is coming at some point. He's pretty popular as well. We've already had Wiccan and Speed from the
yep.
WandaVision show.
We have
And
got Patriot from what's his name's grandson from Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one slipped my mind too.
he's Patriot. That's his grandson. Yeah.
So,
And Loki, we see the young Loki. That's potential in there too.
so with what they're doing, it almost feels as if it's the same thing when they were trying to establish the Avengers. Like at the end of all of the older MCU movies, we had Samuel L. Jackson coming up like, hey, got the initiative. And then it's basically they would slowly introduce each character. And that's almost what it feels like now. And at some point, they're just going to bring it together and be like, yeah, we came together. We're the champions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think that's what they're going to do.
So, little tidbit for those that don't know, I do this thing called Recasters. I have this other coworker, this friend of mine named JT, and he lives across the street from where they filmed the entire Hawkeye show. And the cool thing is that a lot of people haven't caught on to, and we haven't really talked about much, but when Kate Bishop is walking out of the gym where she works out, right? And she runs into Hawkeye, the name of the actual gym where she's working out is Champions. Is Champions.
There it is. It's coming.
I think that's what's coming. It didn't show it in any of the previews, but JT has a video of it. I'll pull it and I'll send it to you. Of where you look down at the name of the actual gym where she was walking out of is the Champions. So yeah, I think that we're going to not get Young Avengers. We're going to get or like it's going to be Champions, the Young Avengers, or something like that.
Something like that.
It's going to go that way. Yeah.
Super cheesy too. One of them's they're all gonna come together. They're gonna be fighting some villain, and one of them is just gonna say, "We're the champions," and we're just gonna
see that little spin turn. It'll be like that little circle thing, but they're gonna be looking at each other, puzzled, like, "What do we call ourselves?" And somebody's gonna just look up and go, "Champions!"
Right at the gym, right there. It's gonna be so cheesy, and
yes.
Every fan is going to love it.
Yes, I think so. Because it would be perfect with that Avengers style. Like they're all just instead of looking out, they're looking in at each other with that circular question of like, "What are we going to call ourselves?" And this one of them looks up and like, "Champions?" I don't know, but it would be funny. That would be great. I love that.
I'm glad you brought up the recasters too. I was going to ask you about that because I know you guys are doing every Wednesday at. So what's his Instagram handle? Just so we can get that in there too.
We just do that as Recasters itself. We actually have taken the last couple of weeks off because we're finding a new shop because we were doing it the same one every time, but that didn't feel right. So we're trying to do it at a different shop each week
cool.
to kind of like show that LCS love of like, hey, if there's an LCS that likes to sell online, we want to just bring our followers to you. All we're going to do is just different hosts and let people come into those shops and buy the books that they might have missed, things of that nature, instead of this one same shop every time. It didn't seem to sit well with either of us and just kind of expanded it.
Cool. So if you guys didn't know, like he was just talking about, they have another Instagram handle that they both kind of, use. It's called the Recasters. I'll put that in the description then as well. Make sure you go follow them. Speaking of, make sure you go follow him as well. One True Nerd King. Now that you have your real account back, he started making a different account as well. Got hacked for a little bit. Definitely sucked, but you got your account back, and that's always awesome. And what they would do is every Wednesday they would go to their local comic book shop and they would host a live stream. So for people who couldn't get to their shops, and a lot of this happened, kind of when COVID kicked off and people couldn't go from different states, they went to their shop, had all the books lined up. And if you've done anything with Instagram live streams, you just claim whatever, and then send them the money. They got the books out in a very timely fashion, and it was awesome. And it was a really good thing that you guys did for the community at the time. So it's cool to see that you guys are still doing that and you're expanding on that as well. So it's always good to have that, LCS love.
Yeah, like what you were saying too, is like when COVID hit, it was for the people, right? It was for the people following on Instagram that couldn't go to a shop because maybe theirs was definitely closed, or maybe
That
they
too.
didn't have a way of doing it safely, right? But now that we've got COVID restrictions coming down, people can get the jab, people can wear a mask, people don't have to. If they feel confident, they can go do whatever, but they can go to their LCS. However, now there's been so many LCSs that have struggled. It didn't make sense to just keep on being at the one. We've definitely found the audience. We've been able to help the people. Now we need to help the LCSs and start to do them from different locations.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's awesome. If you guys have ever watched it, they have not just all the books, but they have all the covers. At least, the shop you've been doing it at.
Yes.
And that's really cool because out here where I'm still at, Oklahoma, a lot of these shops, I mean, I love my LCS. They're fantastic. But I understand they know where they're at and they can't be getting every single cover, every single issue. And, if you want that specifically, you have to pre-order it. So I miss out on a lot of books, just because I don't pre-order a lot of stuff. But man, just to have a shop like that and just, the availability, just, all right, I'm going to go onto Instagram. I'm going to see what they have available. Oh, there's 30 copies of this, and they have the incentive variants as well. That's so cool. My shop at home, they don't do anything live like that, but when I was home for just that month time and I walked in there, I was like, damn, they really have everything. This is fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. We're going to be glad to be bringing it back hopefully next week. So
Cool. Yeah, I definitely meant to ask you because I thought about it. I would always see it live, and I was like, I don't know if they've gone live for a little bit doing that.
Yeah, it's been quiet. Yeah, JT got sick, and I had to bug out for everything going on with work and setting up the studio. So we just took a couple weeks off, and that's when we talked about it. We're like, hey, we need to find a way to really start to spice things up, change them up a little bit for the viewers too, because it gets boring after a while. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good times.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to see it. And I know I've talked about it before, but this is literally, I mean, I've seen the pictures. I cannot wait to see your just fully finished studio. I saw all the lights. I see the camera. It looks like a legit production studio. The quality is going to be incredible, and I can't wait to see what you can do with it.
It's a $1.3 million facility, man. We've got podcasting bays, editing
insane.
bays. We've got our green room where everybody can get prepped, get makeup, do hair, change in and out of outfits, and we've got four different looks in the studio itself, in the studio proper. We've got 5 different movable walls, different kinds of scenes, and an infinity wall that's also a giant green screen too. So this infinity wall is huge, and obviously it looks like it never ends. That's an infinity wall that kind of has that continual slope. And even though it's white, I can flip a switch and then the lights change to green, and then it's automatically a green screen then. So it's going to be pretty dope. You'll have to be guesting with me on that next one.
Oh, man, I'd be excited. That'd be awesome. So outside of that, I know we went super off topic, but we started off talking about some indies. Yes. I know you said you were talking really highly of AWA. That's awesome too. I saw someone, they mentioned Scout. Have you read anything from Scout? What are some of the other smaller indie books that you've been reading lately, or just some of the publishers that really stood out to you?
So Vault.
Yes, that's another awesome one.
The last book you'll ever read has been, honestly, outside of The Nice House on the Lake, to me, the most consistently delivering book series I've been reading for the last 6 months, in my opinion, consistently. So like these last 3, I felt like I have gotten something good out of every single one of those books.
Yes.
And I may have wanted more, but that was because I see where the story is going and I'm that intrigued, like I am with The Nice House on the Lake, right? Because I feel like some writing, like we were just talking about with The Me You Love in the Dark. The first 2 we enjoyed, but it was kind of like until this third one, it didn't all come together. This is still coming together every episode, and you're just getting enough bits of like, oh, you're figuring it out. I'm figuring it out.
Yes.
Those are my 2, number 1 and number 2 books series wise right now that I cannot stop talking about enough of. Now it's definitely adult. You're not giving this to your kid.
That too. Definitely an adult book.
This is definitely an adult book. But it has been, I'm totally in on the last book you'll ever read. You mentioned this as well, Chicken Devil.
Chicken Devil is great.
It's good. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't totally see where it's going. I think I know where it's going, but I'm not freaking out about it. Um, and I said Nice House on the Lake already. I got A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance.
Love that one too.
Yep, I'm enjoying it. It's a little confusing, but that's because it's so light on the writing. I'm spoiled because we've had so much great stuff coming in indies lately that
Yep.
when you look at them, there's so much great writing. Like, okay, I have to say, number 1, 2, and 3. Not All Robots is probably my number 3rd, and
That
it's
one's awesome too.
such a great read. This is very light on the read, tremendous on the art, lots of panels, but it's a lot more light on reading. So for me, it's intriguing. I'm there, but I'm there in the loosest sense, kind of like I was with The Me You Love in the Dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of great art, lots of cool paneling. I get where it's going, but it's strictly more visual in that aspect. So I like a little bit more story. So that would be my other tweak. But those are the main things I picked up. I picked up some others. I picked up Jennifer Blood, for example.
How was that one?
It was pretty good. I mean, I just got done reading Gun Honey. So
I haven't read that one either. Haven't been able to find it.
I got a copy for you.
Thank you.
I can even get you the Hughes one. But I liked Gun Honey. Jennifer Blood seems pretty good too, but it's just, I don't know. It's a little bit more heavy right now. I like Dynamite. I do. I'm going to give it another shot, but I would say like out of 5, I would give it a 3.5, maybe a 4, maybe if I'm stretching it. But Gun Honey, I would give a solid 4 to maybe I'd say Gun Honey is definitely a 4. Nice. So Jennifer Blood, still good. Check it out, but I'm not as sold on it as I am Gun Honey, and maybe that's because they're just so similar. 2 female characters coming out within 1 week of each other in different ways that I just kind of feel like, man, if I had read these both the same week, I'd be super high on them both. But because one just came a little bit sooner, I couldn't help but compare the entire time.
That happens. I feel that same way with a lot of books I read. I've actually been to 4 different shops now, and I haven't seen Jennifer Blood at any of them. So at some point, I'll probably get it, but we're going to see how that goes. Going back to Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. So I'm biased. I love stories like that where you can actually get the full story from just the artwork. But I don't know if you know really about that series, but it is going to be a new ongoing from Image.
Oh, awesome.
So they announced that as a ongoing crime series. So I'm really hyped up for that. I mean, this is obviously just the first issue, but just expect a long series from that one. And then going back even further, the last book you'll ever read, Colin Bunn has been on fire with everything he's writing, and you are completely on point with everything that you said about it. First issue, the setup, loved it. Didn't even know what I wanted from the second issue, but I got exactly what I wanted. And then when I was done reading the second, I was like, man, I still love it. This is fantastic. But I want to know more about her. Who is this character? Why is everyone after her? What is her deal? Third issue right there. Colin Bunn on fire with it. I'm actually I've been emailing him. I'm actually working to get him on for one of these episodes as well.
Oh man, that would be great.
I know. He's obviously busy. So we're working out a schedule. I'm open. So whenever he's good, that's when it's going to happen. I will change whatever schedule I have for that. But
yeah, no, the man's definitely on fire. He has not had I haven't seen a swing and a miss from him in an age, but I agree 100%. I did not expect this. I didn't expect it. I got it just reading like, that's a cool name. And it's Colin Bunn. I'll try it.
Had to get it.
And I hadn't heard anything. Nobody had teed it up for me. I wasn't out there scrolling through looking for anything. My little shop just happened to have like 5 copies of it. I'm like, let's give this a shot. Man, I told everybody that I was in the shop there with the next day after I read it. All the books were gone. Number 2 came in. He ordered double, 10 of them gone. And it's been a great
just keeps getting better.
Yeah. So for those that are loving this horror film kind of genre and this change and this shift, Vault has a home run right here. I
agree. Totally agree. Now, since we're on the Colin Bunn train right now, and we were talking about AWA earlier, very kind of more kid series, but he had bite size. That was
Yes.
a great read too. And I don't know a
Yes.
lot of people that are talking about that one. And the people I have talked to him or talked to about it, they were like, it's definitely meant more for kids. But I mean, I read it all in one sitting. It was fantastic.
It was fun,
It was. It
and
was a fun read.
I hate when they say, well, it's for kids. I mean, is it? Because at the end of the day, if it's fun, isn't it for everyone then at that point? That's my opinion of it. But yes, I enjoyed it as well. Yeah.
One of the other writers that I'm really high on right now, I've been high on this guy for a while now, but Jeff Lemire.
Yes. May's book.
May's book, yes. That was such a great first issue. And same thing, not a lot of dialogue. And he did the artwork in it too. But the
Yep.
story really focused on everything that was happening in it. And it felt, when I talked about that book, it felt very relatable. Just,
Yes.
you wake up,
Yes.
you go about your day, you're in a routine. And he's even talking about, faces are just a blur now. Everything I do is a blur. It's like, damn, well, I'm reading it like, man, I do this every single Wednesday. I wake up and
Yes.
do the same thing every single day. It's just one of those things.
I think there's also the what is it? Last other image title. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
From him?
Last one left, or I can't remember now. I'm gonna have to think about it for a minute. Give me a minute, because there are all stacks of comics here sitting around me. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna tell you there's been the other one that I really enjoyed from last week. But yes.
Oh, from last week?
Yeah, it was from last week.
I
want to say Last of Us, but it's not Last of Us.
I'm excited for that too, though, eventually.
Yes. But that's more game side of things.
It's going to be a good HBO show. I think it's HBO, right?
Yeah, it is. That's what's been developed for. Yes, it is.
That's going to be a cool one. They're going to kill it. At least I'm hoping.
At the end of the day, HBO has been doing a fantastic job in bringing some very large universes to life in their shows with some very serious topics. And so if that show was going to land anywhere at all, I am super pumped it landed with HBO, because that's not a simple thing to just undertake, in my opinion, for any streaming service. There's just so much depth that can come with that, in my opinion.
I was a big fan of the video games. Never read the comic books for it, though. Second game, all right. I mean, it is what it is. But that first game, whew, I put a lot of time into that game.
Sequels, you always got to be careful with, in my opinion.
I know. I actually stopped playing it because I didn't want to keep ruining it for me. I got maybe a couple hours into it and I was like, wow, I'm really not enjoying this. I'm just going to stop and I'm just going to keep telling myself it's great.
I can agree with that. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
So some of the other books, I mean, obviously we hit on indies really hard. We talked about a lot of TV shows as well. No, that's a good thing. I love indies.
There was one I didn't get to talk about that I did get. That I put it here in the stack right now because I know I was referencing from a stack before. It's Arkham City.
Yes, I didn't pick it up. I was actually going to say I'm not the biggest on DC. I understand, one of those things. They've got a lot of good books out, but I heard that issue was fantastic.
I am not a DC guy. I'm actually kind of an anti-DC guy in some ways. Not 100%. I think DC Black is killing it. I think, the old Vertigo, new DC Black, old hat, new hat, just rename.
Is this the one you were thinking of real quick? Last Flight Out?
Last Flight Out. Yes, Jamie. Thank you.
You had me tricked, man. That's Dark Horse.
Oh, it is.
That's Dark Horse.
That's why I couldn't find it. I was kept on looking it up again. I'm like, why can't I find this? Because we're talking about Lemire. I'm just like, why can't I find it? And
now that's one that I wish I was reading. My shop didn't get any for the first issue. I haven't been able to find it, so I obviously didn't go for the second one, but I heard that's another one that it's really good.
Yeah, I think I might have an extra one, man.
Damn, about to send me your whole
Yeah,
stack.
we might be having we might have to have like a little round robin of sending some books around because
Yeah, that's fine by
yeah,
me.
yeah, Mark Guggenheim and Edward Furtago. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great.
So what's it
I was
about?
essentially there is a genius and everybody's having to leave Earth because it's Earth and we've screwed it up like we have in every post-apocalyptic show.
So it's based on a true story.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. It's fortune telling right now. This is Nostradamus' new story. So what this is in the future is this person's building these arcs to take everybody away, right? Kind of a little Wall-E-ish. But the guy that's making these arcs to leave has a daughter, and she is in Chicago. And Chicago in the future, kind of like the present in some ways, is the one place in the United States you don't want to be. And I say that because I hate the White Sox. But at any rate, you don't want to be there, but his daughter is there. So it's a little bit of Escape from New York meets Wall-E, like in kinds of like tones and like plot lines, like, you know, humanity is trying to get away, but they've got to get somebody in there to save the daughter. At any rate, I would put it on my top 10 most best number ones to come out this year. I've not gotten to read number 2 yet, but I would put it in my top 10 number ones for indies that have come out this year so far.
Nice. I mean, we had a lot of good ones as well come out this year. So
yes,
just for that, it's
just 100%. Yeah. But no, that was it. That was it for me.
But
you know, you were getting into Marvel and more DC stuff. I apologize.
No. I'm glad, you know, you brought that up. That's actually one of the series that I keep looking for. Like every time I go into a shop, that's one of the first things. It's like, all right, last flight out. Nope. And striking out again. I know I can just buy it online, but it's not as fun. I love going to shops. I love going through the back bins. I love seeing what's on the rack. And I mean, yeah, I can order it off eBay. I can find someone on Instagram that has it. It's just not the same. It's a better experience knowing I went there, grabbed it, it's mine, and I can just come home and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that 100%. I think for me, like, if it wasn't for Dark Ages, I wouldn't have gotten anything Marvel this week. But DC had a few things, and maybe it's just the Halloween kind of situation, but you got Soul Plumber.
I was going to say, cool. You got that too, right?
Yeah, I did get Soul Plumber, and I got Are You Afraid of Darkseid?
I almost got that, but the only reason I would have got it is because I grew up with Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I was like, that's a sweet cover. That's the only reason I would have got it. And I thought, you know what? I've already got, I think, 14 books right now. I'm not getting it for that reason. I don't know anything about DC. Well, not much.
I got it because it was a one shot. That was the reason why for me, because I didn't have to worry about getting into anything super convoluted DC, because that was one thing they love to do with anything. It feels like it's got to have 100 tie-ins across every single.
Oh my god, I know. Always happens.
So, yeah, so that's the only reason why I got it, because of the Are You Afraid of the Dark look and feel to it, and it was a one shot. So I'm just like, all right, so it's an homage. I'm going to enjoy it. I haven't read it yet, so no spoilers. I can't tell you if it's any good, but yeah, I picked that up. But I have Soul Plumber, but I'm not going to lie, I have not gotten to say. I like to sometimes read my number ones twice, because it just is so, there's so much. It seems a little insane running.
Soul Plumber,
but I'm enjoying it. Yeah, Soul Plumber.
Yeah, it was. I didn't really know where it was going, and then kind of when it hit the end, I forget. You just said that you didn't finish it. So I'm not going to spoil it. Or
no, I did finish it, but I want to.
All right, you had to read it twice
because I feel like I maybe had gone through hastily, and I need to reread some different parts or take a look at a couple more panels a little bit more closely, because for me it was kind of like, this is just bonkers. And
that's how it felt.
Yeah, and I just got to the end. I'm like, well, okay, so we did batshit crazy today, and that was it. You know,
I personally really liked it. I liked kind of the vibe that it had. It kind of bums me that the front of it says DC horror on it, but it was kind of more of a lighthearted Halloween type story.
Yes.
And a couple of years ago, I think, well, probably 2 years ago at this point, I'm losing track of time. All of the Joe Hillhouse books from DC. I think I bought all of those series. I love them all, and they were all very horror. And that's kind of what I want out of it. I wish it was more like that, more of an actual horror book. Maybe it'll
It
get that
didn't
way.
feel like that to me, and maybe
It
that's
didn't
why I
though.
didn't enjoy it as much. I was looking for something a little bit more like Constantine, like Black Label. I was
That's kind
thinking,
of where I thought it was going to do.
yeah,
I did
it
really
just
like it though.
no, it wasn't bad. It was just like I said, it was bonkers. It was
Yeah.
just all over the place. Where I was kind of like, all right, well, we're following a crazy man. I get it, you know. But yeah, no, it was still, like I said, I need to reread it because that's what happens sometimes. Is I feel like I get to the end and I'm like, huh, well, I don't hate it and I do like it, but I just don't know how much I like it because there's just
Man,
been so much stuff
there's
lately.
so many comics where I finish reading it and it's just like, what the hell did I just read, man? Like, what?
I get that with Department of Truth every once in a while.
Oh
Sometimes I'm
my
like,
god.
I got to read it 3 times now.
I start the issue off and it's my thinking is literally, what am I reading? I get about halfway through it and it's like, where are we going? And in the end, I'm like, damn, that was crazy.
I
Every
know,
time.
I know. Every single time that I'm like, because even like I'm in the book itself, I'm like, I got to go back to the second page because this just happened. It doesn't make any sense at all. And all these issues in, still, I find myself making that mistake in that call because I know they're going to tie it together at the end, or it's going to
Every
be coming
time.
in another issue or two because that's just what Tinian does. But man, Department of Truth has got me all over the damn place.
That dude, I don't know how he's managing everything right now, but it's almost as if he just presents the publisher like, all right, I have this idea. He doesn't even need to explain what it is. They're just like, do it. Do whatever you
Yeah,
want. And
yeah. You
every
have an
single
idea?
one is a hit.
Yeah,
Something is killing the children consistently. 20 issues. I think it's 20 issues deep
yeah.
now.
20 was just now.
And it's every single issue. There's not one bad issue. Department of
No,
Truth. There's some issues that don't tie in with the main series. There's a couple small, like 2-issue mini arcs, still incredible. And
yeah.
then even the Batman run. I don't read Batman, but I read his run and I thought that was great.
I do like the characters he's been introducing. I do like. I think this Fear Street is his last side of his last portion that he's really doing with DC, like DC proper, right? I know we've got the DC versus vampires coming. I think that's the last of him, Tinian, first for being in contract with DC. But yeah, and I agree on the X-Files side of thing, 100%.
Absolutely. And I
I
loved
remember the
watching that
description
growing
at
up
the
too.
beginning. Yeah, yeah, that's one of my favorite shows of all time. So,
But he's definitely one of them. I always try to think about who my top writers are, like which ones where it's like a book comes out, must pick up. I mean, he's definitely there. In my opinion, Jeff Lemire is there.
yeah, I was gonna say Lemire next.
I'd hate to put like one before the other, but man, they're like tied for first to me. Everything I feel like Jeff Lemire comes out with is just incredible. I mean, you had Sweet Tooth. That was a great read. A little bit older, but still fantastic. Gideon Falls ended last year. It definitely took a weird path towards the end, but that is still one of the best like horror books I have read in a very long time. Kind of got sci-fi, but still fantastic.
Yes.
Last Flight Out. You were just I haven't read it yet, but you said it was very good.
Basilisk.
Basilisk,
That's what we're talking
Cullen
about.
Bunn.
Colin Bunn. That's what I was gonna say because Colin Bunn. Between Basilisk and the last book you'll ever read, two great going right now at the same times. I would put them as my trifecta. They are my trinity right now.
I think so too.
Writers, because I feel like we're in a renaissance in writing. I feel like the 90s begat the renaissance of art when you've got the Liefeld, the Lees, all these guys that really cut their McFarlane, all these guys that created this entire new area of comics and completely etched out this entire side of making comics cool in a lot of ways for what it is we're getting to do now. They really blazed that trail, but it was all art because as soon as you got the Image books, you were very light on story. McFarlane Spawn being one of the very few far in between first kinds of things to come out of Image that was story-wise had some teeth to it. Everything else was just beautiful bodacious blowout images, giant page panels. That's what it was. But now it's writing. Now it's plot. And I feel like the new rock stars are a lot of the writers. Yes, we all love our artists still. They're still rock stars, but I think writers are getting their due a little bit more because of what's happening with Tinian, Bun, Lemire, these guys, even like Scotty getting the things that he's getting to do now too. Him going out on his own, that's a big deal as well. All these guys are starting to really kind of get into their self-publishing sides. I don't know. I think it's gonna be great for comics. I think that this is that
Really
new
is.
renaissance of writing.
I think the cool thing, because you put Scotty Young kind of in that category as well. I mean, he obviously doesn't have as much as some of those other guys currently do on their plate. His covers are great. They're really growing on me. But the stories that he is coming up with, they're all very different from each other.
Yes.
Strange Academy is nothing like the Me You Love in the Dark. While you can stay kind of with Tiny and stuff, not saying it's the same, but Nice House on the Lake, Department of Truth, those are actually semi-ish tied in with each other, only because in that first issue, they had all of the Twitter posts or the Facebook posts in that couple panels. And I think you had the main character from Department of Truth. One of them was his tweets. So you can use that as a little Easter egg. You can use that as they're in the same universe, however you want to view it. But then you have something that's killing the children, which is another kind of dark vibe to it. It's monsters. People are still being killed. So the stories they're not the same, but it's a similar vibe. But Scotty Young, totally different stories.
I hate Fairyland. Middle West. Middle West
Yes.
is huge. If you've not gotten
That's
to read
got a hardcover
West,
coming out too.
Yes, if you have not gotten to read Middle West, heinously recommend. But that's just where I kind of feel like with Bun and with Lemire, not so much Lemire, but with Bun and with Tinian, I feel like you kind of know what you're going to get, right? You're going to get some very deep, very horror, very scary kinds of writing. I feel like with Lemire can be very apocalyptic, but it can have a lot of heart still in there as well. But with Scotty, you can go anywhere.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting.
Totally honest. I mean, like his different series are very different from one another, and I think that that's why it's really appealing to me right now. Getting to see him actually go out and flex on his own too.
Yes,
I'm really interested to see all the different ideas he has coming to life.
I'm really happy to see the success that he's found as well, because like you said, it's so different. I'm glad you brought up I Hate Fairyland. That is just out there as a series. Middle West, I read a few issues. I do actually have the whole series, but I really want to get that hardcover. But same thing, all over the as far as it goes. There it is. They're all over the place as far as being different, and not like you said, not to put down Bun or Tinian, but
no.
That's what I mean.
Trying to be that way at all.
But that's what I'm saying too. Like it's what you're gonna get. Where it's going to be like such a phenomenal story. Like you're going to be invested in this story and you're so excited for it. But Scotty Young, it could be out in left field and then all of a sudden it's in right field.
Yes. And I think that maybe because though too, Tinian and Bun are a little bit still newer to us than Lemire and Young right now, right? Mm-hmm. If we're comparing, they're definitely two of the newer-ish, not new, but newer-ish kids.
More up and coming.
That's what we've really gotten to kind of see from them so far. So when I say it's predictable in that manner, I just mean I'm only so familiar with him that I know those things. Still massively prolific, still my number one and number two right now. But like I said, they're in different ways. Well, they're top five. They're my top fives.
I like that. I was going to say, so we've talked about those four now. We got Lemire down, Cullen Bunn, Tinian, and Scotty Young. I'm going to be honest. I might put them down as top four as well, but top five. Who would you fill in for that fifth spot? Gosh, no particular order on any of them, but just who is your go-to five? You see a new book come out. It's like, yes, I cannot wait for that one. It's going to be awesome.
That's what it usually tells for me to look at my desk.
I was going to say, I know it's a tough one.
I see the books everywhere. Man, that's such a hard question because there are so many other great guys out there that are doing stuff right now that I feel like I could be leaving out. But what's Stray Dogs? I I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
It's tough.
I don't know.
That's real
Because
tough.
at first I was like my top two, no three, then four, but now we're getting into five, and I feel like they're all so in different ways, like almost worshipped right now as far as writers go. Dude, I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a mea culpa on that one.
Yeah, I really don't know either. I know. So we got Jamie Sandoval. He said Donny Cates on Hulk, Al Ewing on Venom are must pickups. I mean, everyone does love Donny Cates. I've talked to a lot of people who also love Al Ewing. I'm not a fan of his Immortal Hulk run as much anymore. I thought it started off fantastic.
Yes,
His other one
lost
from
me.
Boom Studios, the 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 God one, I can't even say. It's the super long title. We only find them when they're
Ordinary.
dead.
Yeah, no, I hated it.
I didn't like it at all. So I'm definitely going
I
to
liked the
spoil it.
first issue. It was beautiful.
It was
But that was it.
fantastic. But
Yeah.
it's how many issues did you read?
3.
All
I
right.
gave it 3.
So I think it was either 3 or 4. One of those issues. It was they finally found the God and the God was alive. And it was like, whoa, this is going to be a spoiler. Turn it down, whatever. They freaking killed the God. And the issue ended with them like, all right, well, we got to find another one. So it's like, yo, we just read these 4 issues. That was a complete setup. And now it's basically nothing. It meant nothing. All the issues. Not a fan.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I think I would say, Kate's is definitely good. But again, I enjoy Marvel, but I'm not a Venom guy at the same time too. Venom's almost like a cult nowadays,
I agree with it. I like Venom, but I totally agree.
Some people are just like, Venom, that's it. And it's like there's more, but yes, Venom's cool. Maybe I was impressed with like Prince though, like with like Ice Cream Man. I don't know. There's still lots of guys out
there. It's an odd
there.
series. That's cool you brought that up. What did you read Haha as well?
Yes.
What'd you think about that?
I'm enjoying it, but it's to me it's a little bit very similar in some aspects. But I don't know. I'm enjoying the fact that I don't have to, if I missed a book and I just wanted to pick one up and just grab a read. So far, I'm feeling that it's that Tales from the Crypty kind of, you're going to get the story in the book itself, not like over 20 issues situation. So yeah, I'm enjoying Haha, but I'm not like loving it. I don't need to get it. I actually haven't gotten any for the last 2 months.
I think I can't remember if it's over. I think it was only a 6-issue series or a 5-issue series.
Okay, well, I stopped at 5. So
whatever the last issue was the last issue where it kind of brought in the Ice Cream Man, like past issues. I thought that was an incredible issue. I really did. That was phenomenal.
Well,
I think the first issue was
That's
great.
the way it wrapped up. I thought it was I thought it was going to be continuous, so I just kind of let it go.
Yeah, whatever the final issue was, it brought in a lot of kind of past Ice Cream Man issues. Like there was a lot of things in there that as an Ice Cream Man fan you would recognize. And I'd say overall that was really on par with what I was expecting from that series. Like I said, I think the first issue was my favorite one, like fantastic, hands down. And then the rest of the series just not very good at all, in my opinion. But the last issue, great.
Came in and went out with a bang, but the one in between. And maybe because I just felt like I was holding on, waiting for something that wasn't happening. It kind of felt. And I think that's probably a good reason why I just let it go after 5. I've got it, but I haven't even read 5 yet. So
Haha was more of a sad series to me. Like it was very just depressing. Every character that they introduced was always a depressing character. Like Ice Cream Man is more of kind of a horror, the Ice Cream Man, like what's he going to do? Is he going to show up like the Dr. Seuss issue where he was reading it, but he actually killed the family at the end, I think, or whatever happened in that one. Like that was cool. And I was ready for that. But Haha, every time I'm reading and I'm flipping through the pages, like, man, this is sad.
It's like Joker.
Yeah. I mean, that series right now, or are you talking about the movie?
The movie.
That was a sad one too. That was depressing.
Yeah, well, it's just, but that's just what I mean. It's just like these just massively tragic human beings. Whereas it's kind of like, well, you know, I don't know. It's like something you read or see once, like you've seen. Like to me, I don't need to rewatch Joker because I don't need to put myself through that every single time. Seeing this person's breaking point getting hit, it's just like, well, saw it. It was great, but I don't want to watch it again because I felt depressed afterwards, So I can kind of see where you're going with that. Yeah.
I like some of these comments too. We got Jamie Sandoval again with another good one of what about Geiger and Noctera? Two incredible series from Image right now. We got Lucci Prez talking about Garth Ennis as one of his faves. He killed it on the Punisher Max.
Yeah,
Walking Dead in the back. Love that as well. Didn't read The Cross though. Jamie back again with Never Never. If you haven't read Never Never, you got to read Never Never. That's a real good one.
Okay.
And then we also got Space Bastards as well. That's another one I haven't read, but I keep hearing phenomenal things. And I just want to say, everyone that is tuned in, thank you so much for watching as well. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't even be doing stuff like this because I love just talking comics with everybody in the house right now. We got One True Nerd King, which reminds me again, go follow him on Instagram. He puts out really good content. He's got incredible reels. Then you get to see his multi-million-dollar studio that he's going to be running soon. And, they do great stuff. They've also got the Recasters. That's another page that you need to follow that he does. They go to comic book shops. They sell books on Wednesdays. And, they do a lot of good stuff for the community. He stays very involved. And like I said, I always got to say thank you. But seriously, I know your time is important to you. Thank you so much for coming on. It does mean a lot to me. And I love talking comics with you.
Bro, I am flattered that you asked me to come out. I am 100% like, as soon as you're like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, dude, I want to do this. I work on doing shows with StreamYard and things of that nature on Instagram and not Instagram, excuse me, but on Facebook Live, doing it here with you and the like. It's been amazing. And I've been wanting to get into Instagram so bad, not Instagram, YouTube so badly for so long here. I apologize. I minimized the window. I didn't mean to. But yeah, I can't say enough how thankful I am that you brought me here today, because it's been something I've been wanting to get into and get to spend more time in the community doing things on YouTube. So I'm going to probably use this as my impetus to start doing something in this next week as well. And, hopefully be able to, invite you to do things with me once in a while too, because I'd really love that. I love this conversation today.
Well, I mean, we've been at it for about an hour and almost coming up on 10 minutes. I usually try to stick it for just an hour because I know, like I said, your time's important to you. You had a long day at work. You got other stuff to do, family and stuff. So we can definitely do this again. I'm really looking forward to you setting up that YouTube. I'm going to hound you about that. You need to finally get started on it. You already do reels. Just transfer it over and make some special ones for YouTube shorts. I haven't gotten into that.
I'll do it. I'll make one
up. Good. Everyone, go follow him. Go check him out. I'm sure it's going to be One True Nerd King again. But on that note, I know I just got done saying thank you for everything, but seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I know everyone in here, I'm sure, really enjoyed the conversation, everything that you had to say, your input on the new Comic Book Day books. We're talking about the TV shows, what you think about the upcoming stuff, and it really was a good time. So seriously, thank you again.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it. We can set this up again. And, thank you again, everyone that just tuned in. Stay tuned. This coming Tuesday, I'm going to be on this platform for Comic Convos. I've got the Dynamite guys coming back on again. Nick Barucci, Rex Wang from Dynamite, Dynamic Forces. And then next Thursday, you need to stay tuned. I'm going to be doing this every single Thursday for the month of October. I'm working to do this every Thursday and Friday for the month of November. But next Thursday, I got the schedule. Next Thursday, if you guys know him on Instagram, he also does YouTube videos as well. I've got Fire Guy Ryan coming on. So stay tuned for that. And on that note, have a good day, everybody. Thank you again.